On this 67 Nova, the teardown is the easy part. The hard part is making sure it all goes back together without drama. And if you watch this video, you'll learn the exact system that we use to keep every part organized and make final assembly a whole lot easier. Here's the plan. We're going to show you how we label everything, group the hardware, track the shims, and build a teardown process that actually helps the rebuild. On this 67 Nova, we got this car already assembled from the customer. They had already done an extensive amount of metal work. The reason that we've really created this video is because we've done so many videos about how we do our specific body work in creating mirror finishes on a car. If we're making mirror finishes, and if you've even taken the time to try to implement that on your particular project, you're gonna realize very quickly that if you've pulled anything apart, it is very hard to get it right back in the exact same spot without having to start using shims and whatnot. So as we tear this fender down, we need to be tracking every single thing as it comes apart, documenting with pictures. Do we have places to put all of the parts and store them so we can be organized as it comes apart? We're gonna draw a picture of the fender, and we're actually going to take the hardware out and place it where it would actually go on this particular car. And the reason that that's important is because if you had shims, and the reason that I say if you had shims, we've already cut a lot of the car apart. All of these brackets right here that go down onto the cowl, we've actually taken the spot weld, the plug welds out, and we've moved them down so that way we don't have any shims on this car. What if you're at home and you do have shims? As you take the shims out of the fender to space it in any one direction, you need to be tracking exactly the measurement. So I would suggest getting yourself a pair of dial calipers and actually taking a measurement. That way you can actually say, hey, I have this bolt is placed in this spot on the fender and it takes shims that is 165 thousandths of an inch. And you can actually notate that on your drawing where the bolt goes. You could tape these together and you could even put it on the cardboard where the bolt goes. So if we have our Nova, we're gonna label it just in case we have one car in assembly and then another one starts getting disassembled and these start getting mixed. We wanna make sure that we have all the totes in one area for that specific car. And we're gonna group all of these parts into. So we're gonna label it what it is. Joe's 67 Nova, this is the front driver fender. And from that point, we can either just drill or poke holes, and as we take these bolts out, we're going to notate if you had shims, where are they on the cardboard? So that way when you put it back, you put it right back in the exact same spot. At this stage, a sheet of paper of a ripple is going to make a difference to us in what we've spent the time with on this particular car. So we want to make sure, and that's why we kind of take the time to modify things and move and eliminate shims if we can help it. I would say that if you have a couple shims in your car, it's not the end of the world. It's where you get those aftermarket panels that have an inch thick stacked gap that if you body worked it flat and you have that many shims, it's going to rattle and loosen up over time and you're not going to maintain that finish. And then we got how many through here? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. The other nice part is if you have certain bolts as you come apart that maybe has a nut and a bolt into it, you can actually take those pieces apart. Portion here has a nut. It's nice because you can thread that back onto the backside. The other factor that makes this really nice is you can see these bolts were during mock-up and we have primer that has blown through the gap and gotten on our bolts. Now, what if you want to take the time during disassembly, maybe you're waiting for things to dry. Maybe you're waiting for a motor to get rebuilt and you're trying to prioritize some kind of your pre-assemblies to be done and worked on. You can actually take the measurements, get the threads, and have a count of how many bolts, what size are they, and you can start ordering those bolts. Whether it's a remanufactured part, maybe you want to switch over to a stainless button head, whatever it is, but at least then you can go back to the tote, pull that piece, and you can start actually swapping those out and making sure that they're the right lengths, they're the right thread pitch, whatever it is, to make your reassembly go smoothly. You can even make notes on here as to what threads go on that particular bolt or fender to just help reassembly go smooth. The other thing that's nice is if you had, like in this case, we had a bolt that was missing, you'll know on your diagram that you need to get another one of those bolts before you go back together. And this isn't even the important part really. When we get into the door, this will really make a lot more sense. Some other ways I've seen this done is I've seen a lot of guys just take a bucket or a box and they throw all the bolts and all the shims for the whole front clip, and they're just not organized. Parts don't go back in the same spots. Shims don't go back in the same spots. And it was very hard to see exactly where you were. But because we've gone through and shown you guys other videos that we perfected the gaps, and we can put it back, and we can even use a gap tool to check the thickness of our gap as we align the panels right back to flat. You basically just have to put the whole car together loosely, and you just keep massaging it as you walk around the car until you're exactly back to where you were. As we get into the door, you're gonna see more of those processes in place, so that way you can end up right back in the same spot. This one's fun to get to. Oh, damn. All right. This one's the real kicker, because a lot of times we have so much adjustment in this door, on any door or any trunk or hood, that we don't have a starting point. And then you have all this beautifully painted parts and you're trying to move things without scratching it and scuffing it, chipping the paint. So to navigate through putting the door back on and having no issues with the paint during the reassembly, we're going to pre-drill with an 1/8 inch drill bit. We're gonna put 2 holes on the body side where the hinge meets the body. And then when we pull the door off, we'll do the same thing. We're gonna also notate, like this particular door has 2 shims. So we're gonna take that same piece of cardboard where we notated on the fender, and we're gonna mark in these, and then also put in there the measurements of these particular shims that we do have. Once you've drilled through 2 holes per side, you're gonna have a box or a bag of 1/8 inch drill bits during the reassembly, and you just wanna make sure that that drill bit will be used as an alignment pin during the reassembly process. Is it gonna be 100% perfect during the reassembly? It's not gonna be exact, but it is going to be very close. The other thing you can do during the reassembly is use just a very light skim coat of lithium grease, just to allow it to slide instead of pull and rip the paint. But this is just giving you a baseline as to exactly how to put it back in. Plus, we've already aligned the hinges within one another on the door to work. And so when we pull the door off and we have this going back together, you're not guessing as to if those are back in alignment. You know that they should be very, very close. get some pictures because we have shims. I want to make sure that we can see what we have as well as where they were placed, and no shims at the bottom. We've also swapped these out from a Phillips screw to an Allen head, so it was easier to adjust in the car. This car fought us quite a bit with not knowing what the metal work had entailed prior to getting it. The reason that we're pulling the car apart for paint instead of just painting the outside is because we like to make sure that we take the time in prepping everything from edge to edge. I don't want to see an edge or a door jamb that does not look completely finished off. So we will actually come through and finish out body working in the door jamb, maybe the back edge of a door, and we will feather anything or any blemishes out. And when we paint the car, we like to paint them completely apart. Depending on the color, this particular color's going to be a very metallic color. Sometimes we'll shoot the jambs, and then we'll just in base coat, we'll reassemble the car with just a couple bolts just to kind of hold it in place, shoot the whole exterior of the car as one, and then when we pull it back apart for the final time, we then clear coat everything completely disassembled, so there is no tape lines. There's no tape lines in the cowl, there's no tape lines in the jamb. We go all the way from the pinch weld at the bottom all the way through the whole car on a rotisserie, and that way the whole bottom gets undercoated, everything gets sealed on the inside in epoxy, and we're not having to deal with anything that just looks unfinished. I'm even notating it so that way if you're reading it, it's in the same orientation as we drilled it. That way we get the exact same thing to sit in. Believe it or not, if you have all the contours of a door jamb and this is sitting slightly off, it will throw off everything that that door is trying to do. It is lighter, yeah. Now we have an exact representation of the fender, where the door's bolting up. We have the shims, and we have the measurements of 125 thousandths of an inch per top and bottom shim and how they are orientated. We also, when we drilled this, you can't see it because I taped over it, but even where I drilled, it captured the shim all the way through the hinge. So I know that that shim is going to go exactly in the same spot every time. But this will now go into a tote that we can then track. The other thing that we're going to do is we are going to pull the hinges off the door. But before we do that, we have to drill 2 holes into the other side. And if you're asking yourself, why do I need to drill and mark which hinge? On this particular car, it's the same for like the Malibus. They have the exact same door hinges. The upper hinge can be used on either side of the car. So if you're sitting there frustrated trying to get the car put together and you can't get the alignment pins in, it's probably because you didn't notate which hinge goes on which side of the car, and you're just struggling to figure out why the hole doesn't line up. The last thing you'll need to do is just grab some of these. These are just lettered punches. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna put it on the face that's going to match up to a mounting surface that you're not going to see. And we are going to stamp this particular hinge with a D for driver's side. Outside of that, we are just gonna store everything for this front clip in one tote with the cardboard. and that is going to help our reassembly process. The other thing that you could do is you could even number if you had a specific numbering sequence as to how it came apart, so you can just reverse that going back together. Just to recap, we've showed you guys how to basically keep track of all of your hardware, how to mark all of your hinges so you know what goes where, and just be organized. Be mindful 10 steps ahead before you go taking things apart and not really having a plan. We have good gaps, so we can always rely on that those gaps are consistent. It's not like you're trying to align a door that doesn't have a perfect gap all the way around it. So we do have that working in our favor. We do have the fact that the car is completely bodyworked flat, so we can use a straight edge for the length of that flat area on the car as we go back through the process during reassembly later. And just trust that process. Trust that our bodywork is where it was and that everything should align back to where you can think, if you do have a problem, what is the variable? Was it the weather strip? Was it that you didn't put the shim where it needed to go? And go back to your pictures and reference all of those information that you've taken during the disassembly process. If you have a problem anywhere in this build, you can use these processes, even if it was during the initial teardown from when you bought the car. How did that part go? What did you track on the disassembly process during teardown to even know how that went? The more that you can document, the more that you guys can have a plan. That's part of what we do here at the classes with SYLVESTERS Customs. So if you guys have any interest in coming up with a plan for your particular project, go to sylvesterscustoms.com and see the class dates. Hope you guys liked the video. Please share it if it helped you, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Is that this thing? Yep. Ha! It's the first time I've done it. 4 years.
Moving on up, folks.